introduce your partners to each other. So you're sharing your main character with your partner during when you're transitioning to partnerships. That's what the partners are going to be doing. Okay. And for share, we're going to celebrate what they've already learned about their characters in their books and encourage them to just to reread their books so they can find more details and get to know better their characters, and also to smooth out their voices and for them to be more expressive with their words, with their readings. So it's pretty much similar to like reread, to smooth out your voice. And okay, so that is
your vaso.
Huh? Oh, yes, I made this cup. So, in order for them to be more expressive, what we're going to do is we're going to have, we're going to have a cup of magic. And we're going to take some magic and we're going to sprinkle them on, and that is supposed to make the kids more expressive.
So what kind of magic? Confetti?
I don't know. You didn't say it empty, but if we put confetti, Miss Donicia will kill us. Maybe. So, you know what? With my kids, I always do this, and then they know that means imagination. So just imagine that it is Pixie does, and then just go and then just throw them up. So use your magic cup.
Invisible magic.
So use your so they can spread your magic. So make sure you do that so they can think that they have been rubbed off on. You rubbed the magic on them. Okay, so that's session 5. And session
6.
What's 6?
You're right.
No, this is 6. This is not.
You're right.
You're good. You said the wrong number.
Oh, did I erase the wrong one? No, I wasn't 7.
You were doing 6.
No.
I was doing 6? We're doing 6. No, because I messed up.
Why?
No.
You're fine.
Oh, so I was already at 7. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, so at
because it's 3 and it's less.
I hope you're not sending this to anybody.
So at 7. All right,
I'll
this
cut that out.
This is going to be cool. So we're going to rally the kids to notice secondary characters now. So think about your, I think they said to mention Woody, and then how he has to have his Buzz Lightyear, and how we get to know Woody by knowing Buzz Lightyear. And also it talks about Pooh and Piglet, how we wouldn't really know Pooh if we didn't have Piglet around. So make that connection with them. Say how it's very important to get to know your secondary knowers because you get more information about your primary or your main character. So that's the connection right there. For teaching point, you want to teach them that you don't just know the characters of the star of the story, but you also get to know the other characters. And when you learn more about those secondary characters is when you learn more about the main character. And that's when you take out this sticky. It says pay attention to other characters too. Because they'll, like I said, refer you back to the main character. Okay? And which one's this one? So it says we're going to read the next chapter. The next chapter of Mr. Puddle. I think I already messed up. Mr. Puddle, and the part where he meets Mrs. Teasberry. Miss Teasberry. So you said notice the relationship between the characters. So first of all, you want to say, okay, what's the relationship between Mrs. T and Mr. Puddle? So in other words, who else is in the story? Who does Mr. Puddle know? And does he have friends and family? So before. So start reading it. And just to notice what Miss Teaberry is to him, what the relationship between them. After you finish reading it, then you can discuss what the possible, what they think their relationship is, and emphasize on Miss. Then you switch over to Miss Teaberry and tell the students that she is Mr. Puddle's friend and neighbor, and prompt them to pay attention to what the next reading is, where you get a little bit more information about Mrs. Teaberry. So ask the student, what else have we learned about her after you finish reading this section? What information did you learn about that secondary character?
And
And it says,
give them this.
so,
And I plan to
this-
give them numbers either on this.
so
side
ask
or
the
this
students
side.
that they have
But
learned
obviously
more
they're going-
about both after reading these two. So
And then
what have
we'll
you
do
learned
this
about
part.
them, Mr.
the symbols.
T-Berry and Mr. Putter?
And then they will have to generate
That's
their
your
own. And then I'll
teach.
pick it up Monday.
And the active
Check it over.
engagement, you're going to
Tuesday,
recruit the students
we'll
to
review
notice the
the
relationship
rest
among
of the
characters in the
correct way
book
to do the
using
sentences.
their observations.
I
So
plan to go back
basically,
to
it's
our
just
journals and
observation,
say
what
what
they
we
read,
did
what do you
in
think
the
they
Then
they
that's the
learned.
day,
And
give
the
them,
secondary
like, the
class.
outline
Have
of
the
the
students
sentence
reread the book,
and have them write it and decide
So they're
why
gonna
they did-
reread
why
it
is
with
it
you.
greater than this one.
reread it, and instruct them to pay attention between the relationship. Like I said, it's just pre-pre.
This.
Like what are they noticing? What new things that they notice about learning, and what are they doing together?
They see mine, 'cause I have a
What would they be doing together?
going and it gives exactly the sentence.
Okay, and the link is remind readers
Probably take a good.
for learning about the characters in the books, they must need to pay attention to the secondary characters and the relationship between them and the main characters. And once again, emphasize how George has that man in the yellow hat. Where's their relationship? How do they help each other out? How do you know more? And also, if you don't have the George or any George book, you can use the Ivy and Zelda. What is the relationship between Ivy and Zelda? I know they came up with a whole bunch of antics. And then remind them that authors will give you clues. So the author is always going to give you clues about how to, what their relationship is like. So just look out for those clues. And for conferring, it says focus on those kids that are having a hard time comprehending, and then work the ones that need help comprehension, and then the ones that are still working on their decoding skills, and also for sight works. Diagram the blends, the vowels, and also chunking and inflectional endings. For all those kids who still need help with those. And for partnerships, you're going to they're going to have them share to reread to sound like the character. So reread the story, make sure you understand what's going on, so you can be able to sound just like the character.